The first video just to get you acquainted with the basics of Adobe Photoshop. So you'll need to download that onto your computer. So here in Google, I just typed download Adobe Photoshop Student. Just coming to this first result here. And this will be the one you need, okay? So you can start with the free trial or you can buy it now. I think the free trial is a week, maybe more than that. So start with that free trial, and that student discount is $20 a month rather than $52, so that's a much better price if you use your Green River email. And you get all the apps. But the only ones you'll need for our class is Photoshop, and we may need Adobe Illustrator. But if you're paying for the subscription, you'll get all of these programs. But start now just with Photoshop. So once you follow those directions, get it installed. It will look something like this when you first open up the program. And I'll just go over here the basics of just creating a new document and kind of where the basic tools are. So you start with Create New. Okay. And it should be pretty simple for the most part, just setting up a document. All right. So this has a bunch under this recent category because I've used the program. But you can go over here to Print. This is kind of a good place to start, and just an 8.5 by 11 document should work. So always check this size and make sure it's in inches here. Okay, so 8.5 by 11 inches. Doesn't really matter the size. We'll be doing about this size for most of our work. Maybe a little bigger or a little smaller. You can choose if it's vertical or horizontal. Vertical will work. But for resolution, always work in 300. You don't want anything smaller than 300 anytime you're making art on this in Photoshop. If it's smaller, it will get pixelated. And RGB color is usually a good one to work with. Okay, RGB color allows your colors to be displayed online. CMYK is more for printing. But since we're doing everything in online, that will work for us. Okay. So once you have all these settings, the biggest one, just make sure it's 300 pixels per inch. There. Hit create. And it'll look something like this. Okay. So here is your kind of just how it will look anytime you open up a new document. Okay. So over here on the left, these are a bunch of tools. Okay. These can be moved around or put in there. These are a bunch of different tools that we'll use. Here's your navigator. This is very useful just for kind of zooming in and out of your document. If it's not here, you can go to Window, Navigator. This is one that's useful to have open. And you can see these can be pulled out and rearranged different ways. I could put this underneath or in between there. But these are the ones I use most often. So this navigator here, color one for picking your colors. So again, if it's not there already, Window, Color, and that will display it. Okay, so usually I have my navigator, color, and layers all displayed. So layers, again, Window, Layers if it's not displayed there. So these are good common ones that I use these all the time when making different work. But these are things that I always want to have open as I'm making new things. And over here are all the tools that you will use. We will get acquainted with a few of these. I'll go over in the next video, but just so you know, you can click on all of these to change between your tools. And what you can also do if you hover your mouse over it, like just make my mouse still, it tells you what it is. So this is the move tool there on top. And it also tells you the keyboard shortcut. So you can see the move tool or the letter V there. And it kind of gives you like a very brief video of what it does. Okay, so that's the marquee tool. And so you see it kind of shows you what that tool does, which is kind of a nice little feature there as we're learning this. Okay. So those are kind of the two main things. You have a bunch of different options up here as well. This is where you'll save your things. File, Save As. We'll go over some of that, specifically how to save different file types. But that's where you do that. Edit, this has a lot of different things we will use sometimes. Here's a bunch of image adjustments. These are all different adjustments you can do to your images. We'll use some of these. We'll use levels and brightness contrast a little bit. And And that's pretty much what we'll be using in this program. So in the coming videos, I'll go over some of these different tools and then how to use some of these different selection things and how to use the navigator there.